Well, thanks, Joanna, for a very interesting seminar today about humour, religion and health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you talked about different kinds of humour. Would you like to just perhaps give us a brief summary about some of those different kinds of humour?
Well, there's the kind of affiliative humour that builds up a group, so it's always nice to have a clown or two in a group to oil the social wheels, if you like. And also, you know, that kind of thing about having an in-joke, which refers to a set of experiences that a group have shared together. So you have this kind of sense of, oh, you had to have been there to get it kind of thing. And that group affiliation, I mean, that is a wonderful thing, but the dark side of it is that if you're not part of that group and you weren't there to get it, then you feel excluded. So there's this sense in which humour, like faith, builds up a group in a really health-giving way, but it has its limits because it also excludes those who are outside the group. And then there's a kind of more assertive humour where you crack a joke to make it clear that you are quite dominant in a group. And in both of those kind of types of humour, you can do it cleverly by being self-deprecating. And that's quite a clever thing to do if you don't want to threaten people and yet still maintain a kind of dominance. So you show that you're powerful by being able to laugh at yourself, but the joke is your joke. And then there's another much less healthy kind of humour, where you are perhaps at the bottom of the pile and you maintain your position at the bottom of the pile by poking fun at yourself or by colluding with laughter at yourself that people who are bullying you or exerting their dominance express. So those are at least three sorts of types of where humour is used in groups.
Yes, and it's interesting, it's so unconscious, isn't it? The style of humour we adopt. Now, I know you've written a book about humour and Christian growth, is that right? Or character?
I'm working on a book on character, and it's drawing on positive psychology. And, you know, as I said in my talk, nowadays we all see humour as something that's quite positive. And so it's been taken up by the positive psychology movement. But historically, humour has not been seen as a positive thing at all. But as quite kind of subversive and negative and indeed wicked by the church. But these days it's seen as positive, and the book I'm in the middle of writing at the moment, which is on character formation, is trying to use insights from positive psychology, which is interested in virtue and character and well-being, to kind of dialogue with the tradition, especially the biblical tradition, but also other aspects of Christian tradition, in understanding how we grow spiritually and how we can use what we know about psychology to help us in that growth.
I think you called it, humour could be a kind of transcendent wisdom.
Humour's a really important, I think humour is very bound up with wisdom. And I think the transcendent aspect of humour, which is there in all faith traditions and our ideas of spirituality, is about being taken out of yourself so you can see things differently. And good and healthful humour allows you to laugh at yourself. And we talked in the seminar to laugh in a kindly way at yourself rather than in a humiliating way. And it seems to me that all spiritual progress is about being able to sit lightly to stuff and not grasp at it. I think if you think about Philippians chapter 2, we have this exposition of the mind of Christ as someone who didn't think equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself. There is something about the right kind of humour that is about self-emptying and saying, oh, you're a bit funny, aren't you, really? And just enjoying it for what it is. And that's quite related to mindfulness, which isn't a particularly humourful kind of thing, but a kind of acceptance of stuff for what it is without getting wound up by it, either by descending into kind of misery and low self-worth, or kind of grandiosity, or clinging to externals that boost you up, but somehow just going, let it all go.
So humour's very healing.
Potentially, yeah.